Good day everyone, welcome back to my channel. Now I do know that I sound a bit weird because my main rig is actually all dismantled, and I'm gonna answer the question on some of the viewers who have actually asked me this question. And also this video does shows the things that I've actually done in order to clean my PC and the case itself. Bernard Georges, I hope I'm actually pronouncing your name correctly, and you would actually ask, this tube for the AIO itself, right, is pretty stiff. I do understand that the Arctic Liquid Freezer 2, be it whether it's the 240, 360 or the 280, I'm actually having the 280 itself. These cables here are very, or should I say these holes here are very stiff. So what I normally do is actually I would actually mount the radiator first, as I always start with big objects to small objects. So be whether you are mounting to the top or mounting to the front. Now this case does not allow you to actually mount to the top. This is actually a Lian-Li 2 case, original case without mesh. And how to actually do it is one hand grabbing the hose so that angle it in a way that you feel comfortable as you're like, having a fixed position. Then you can swivel, or should I say you can move your pump as it is. So right now I did some preparation. In fact, I've already done the thermal paste. So what I'll do is actually I'll clean this. Then using a microfiber cloth to clean it. What you normally do, right? Normally I'll just, because I have this so-called align cable here. Oops, I've actually touched. So I'll align it here so that when I place it down, right, this will not go anywhere, because this cable, this pump cable is pretty long. So I'll just do it this way. Then I turn over. So while you're actually holding the block itself, right, hold the hose itself. All right, then slowly you fit to position. Once you got the position, let go of this. Press this in and just shake a bit. Once you have done that, right, still holding on to the pump itself. Now to screw those 4 screws that is actually catered for. The back will take a bit of time because it's hard to actually screw from the back due to the blockage, but still able to do so. Then you do with the rest, which is actually the top here. And the back. Now when you're screwing the screws itself, right, please make sure that you don't screw all the way in. It's like just hand tight. Not really that tight, but once it reaches the plate itself. So once you actually feel that way, right, what you need to do is diagonally tighten both sides. Then when you're about hand tight, in fact, some of them just do hand tight, but for me, I would just use a screwdriver to torque it in a way that about 1/4. Oops, this side. 1/4, 1/4, and 1/4. I know this is pretty stiff, but if you were to hold it and to, move around the other hand with your palm, right, it will be easier, so that you might prevent this from breaking. Okay, which I'm going to tilt here. See? Prevent this hose from actually breaking. So make sure that you hold one hand on one area before you move the pump itself. Here is my custom made graphic card. Right, it's actually running the ID cooling 120 mm liquid cooler. And what I normally do, right, I'll place this sitting at the back, but not screwing it yet. If you were to place this somewhere else and place the radiator, right, you might damage the card slots over here. And from the other video, right, in fact I did show how to actually clean this point here. You can use a eraser, then erase off, then clean off with a brush, and to wipe clean with your microfiber cloth, which I have already done so earlier on. So just to show you. Now make sure that there is clearance, as in, like, you know, no cables blocking. Then this is actually my pump connector. I'll just hold it, then you slot it in, push it in. Then of course you tighten the screws over here. Then make sure you connect all the fan connectors and the pump connector. So this is actually how I do the connection itself. Now everything is actually fitted in place, and I've actually made sure the connection is done properly, as in like the CPU pump connector, and of course the GPU pump connector and the fan connector are done. So once you've actually done this, right, oh, before I move on, the part where I say hold on the block and shake it, reason being, right, when you press it and when you shake it, you will spread your thermal paste. It will spread your thermal paste properly. Now once you have actually done that, right, use a microfiber cloth to clean whatever areas that you have actually touched, especially in humid areas like where I am. I wouldn't want to actually leave my fingerprints on all these places here. So give a good clean. Pretty cool monkey god animation, right? Just gonna introduce to all gamers out there, be it whether you're in Singapore, in Malaysia, or internationally, do take part in this Facebook known as Critical Gaming 93. And this is actually done by a very good friend of mine. And at times, or should I say most of the time, he does play live streaming COD. So you can actually join him. I'll leave the link on my description, you can join. At the very beginning of my video, in fact, I've actually illustrated on how I actually mount the pump of this AIO with handling the hose carefully. For some of you who are actually curious about this GPU that I've actually done, you can actually click on the description that's right below, or you can click on the top right hand corner. It does show you how I actually do this AIO, as in like hybrid mode. In the process of this explanation, I've actually dismantled my whole PC and did a cleanup. So I was figuring, why not do a cleanup video then? Now, for those of you who is actually curious on how I clean my PC, right? Well, you can actually proceed on with the video. If not, you can just skip. Here we go. Congratulations, you have actually watched how I actually clean my whole PC items. And the way I treat the radiator itself, right, is to put a little bit of detergent, about 1/10 of a teaspoon, and have a bucket of lukewarm water. Then you can actually plunge your whole radiator. This will help to degrease all the dirt from the fins itself. Then rinse the radiator with clean water and let it dry naturally. And also kindly do not use a hair dryer nor putting under the hot sun to dry the radiator, because you will damage the radiator itself. Now whatever you see here, all the PC components, right, I will be migrating them to my new case, which is actually a OL11 mini. So if you're interested, do subscribe to my channel and to hit on the notification button. Till then, take care, goodbye, see ya.